Hi. Good morning. And for everyone's in different places. This may not be morning, maybe afternoon, depending on the time zone that you're in. First thing I'm doing is I want to show you this because what I'm about to talk about, I don't want anyone to kind of think that I'm telling you this is how you have to do things. This is just something to help you and um, maybe just let you know that you're not alone when it comes to these kind of things. But anyways, here's I know it's backwards. Jeez. I don't know how to get this to where it's not backwards. But I hope you can read it. If not, I hate how this stupid computer turns everything backwards. So anyway, I'll read it to you here in a second too. Basically, what it says is this is only a suggestion because every person is different. What helps one person may not work for another person. So in no way should you think this is the only right way to handle your situation. See, the thing is that the reason I'm talking about this today is because everybody in one point in their life has had some kind of anxiety. Some have small amounts of it. Some have extreme amounts to where they have to go and go to a doctor, go to a psychiatrist, and get some help. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. It's okay if you need help because um, there's times when help is what is needed to get you better or to make you feel better. The thing is you're not alone. I actually did some research, and just here in the United States alone, there is over 40 million people in the United States that suffer from some form of anxiety. So that's staggering. But what really blew my mind is 8% of these are children. And when you think about that, sometimes for parents, they think it's just their way of, their child's way of getting attention. That you're not really having panic attacks. This is all in your head. You can't be. You're too young. I mean, that is wrong. Don't ever do that. And whenever a child is acting out, sit them down and try to figure out why they're acting out. Especially after seeing the study that 8% of children in the United States have anxiety. Even for kids, sometimes things are hard when depending on their home life and maybe even the school situations. They may have some type of form of anxiety, and that's when they need you the most. That's when they need you to be more understanding with them, and they need your love more than ever. I just need to know somebody is there. Sometimes just knowing that there's other people who's dealing with it, or just having somebody sitting with you. And sometimes when you have an anxiety attack, can be a huge relief, because the one thing that when somebody has really bad anxiety attacks, what makes it even worse and scares them even more is when they are by themselves when they're having one, because they feel like if they are having a real medical situation and they are alone, then there's nobody there to help them if it becomes worse. Knowing somebody is just there, you don't even have to talk to them, just sit next to them, just let them know that you're there and that you can help them and that you want to help them. You want to be with them until they get to where they're calmed down and they feel a little better. What I went through, I had them. I had very high anxiety at one point. I've had them when I turned 19. I ended up going through a stage where I had it really bad. And basically, I did get on something that helped me. I was able to wean myself off and then completely went off of it by the time I was married at the age of 21. But what happened with me is when I would have one, I would just get very shaky. I felt like I was having chest pains, so I felt like I was having a heart attack. And I would take some medicine that my doctor had prescribed to me. I finally went to urgent care and got some help, because at the time I didn't really have insurance and I didn't really have a real doctor. So my mom took me to urgent care, and we found out what I had. I did actually have a health issue at the time, and he gave me something to help me with my nerves when they happened. And I'm telling you, I'll go and lay down and I'd sleep for like 2 hours at a time. And then when I'd wake up, I'd be so hungry. And my mom had had this big, huge meal set up for me because I was just famished afterwards. It's just, I don't know what it did, but it just took something out of me. And it was just like, I needed food. So, but then when I got older, I went through it again after me and my husband were married. And mine was so bad that I couldn't sleep at night. Um, it would be two different ways that I would do it. I would either have the shakes. I mean, my whole entire body would shake so hard. I was like, I was having seizures or tremors. No matter what I did, I couldn't stop shaking, and I would try so hard to stop shaking. I'd start crying because I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. I had other times where my throat would completely close up on me, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. Then and that would make me upset, and then I would have chest pains right underneath my chest wall. Um, and so both ways was extremely scary for me. The mild ones would be I'd just be a little jittery, and anything anybody said to me, I couldn't focus. So I ended up having some problems at work. So then that's when I stepped down as a department manager. I'm kind of wanting to step back up again, but there's so many big changes going on that I've changed my mind. Um, so anyway, I'm just trying to be happy and content where I'm at. And that's my goal in life, is just to be happy and content with what I have and where I'm at. And but it was really, really hard for me. I was so scared, you guys. I'd be in tears. And then one day, I was trying to get ready to go to the Kingdom Hall because I'm a witness. We call it Kingdom Hall, not church. And I told my husband, I can't make it. I'm not going to be able to go. I said, I'm having one right now and I can't calm down. So he's like, okay, let's try this. He put me in a lukewarm bath, ran me a lukewarm bath, put me in the tub, and gave me a Benadryl and told me just to sit there and take deep breaths and try to relax. And thankfully for that, I was able to calm down enough that I was able to go. So it's just, there was times where it was a struggle just to walk into work. I didn't want to even be there. I was afraid of being around people. A good amount of people. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to explain, even though I'm a huge people person. So you would think I would never have that kind of trouble. Um, but I did when I was going through them really strong. One of them was so bad, it was around the time we had the really cool eclipse. And the night before it happened, they say sometimes it throws people's emotions off, and I was getting better. I was starting to come out of them. I wasn't having them as often. I was really proud of myself. I was like, it's starting to get better. And bam, I had the one where I shook and my throat closed up. I had both at the same time, and I'm like, oh my goodness! I was awake until 3:30. I had the cats locked up. Dixie, my cat, knows what to do when I have them. So a lot of times I would have her with me. She would lay her right across my legs, or she would lay on my chest and push her legs down like this as hard as she could to stop me from shaking. She knew exactly what to do. She knew when I was starting to have one. So it's like when I felt like I was going to have one, I got my cat. So my cats had to come upstairs. I went and grabbed my husband and woke him up so he could come cuddle me for a minute. And because my mom kept saying, why don't you wake him up? I don't want to wake him up. She's like, well, you need to have somebody with you when you're doing this. It'll make you feel better, maybe calm you down quicker. And he could only handle it for a few minutes, guys. That's how bad it was. Because when he wrapped me up and he held me really tight to try to get me to stop shaking, he said I was shaking so hard. He was like, it felt like I was possessed by a demon, because it freaked him. It would just really upset him so bad. And then I was like, after that, he really understood what I was going through. Um, and so what I tried when all this started happening, like I told you, we did the Benadryl and the lukewarm baths. Another thing that really helped me was, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I fall asleep with a fan that's on the floor. I have a ceiling fan that I never run. So I would run the fan on the floor so that it would push the air up and make that ceiling fan turn very slow. And I would sit there and I would just to get my mind off of my symptoms. I would concentrate on that fan and concentrate on that fan and make my eyes follow the fan around. And because it was making me concentrate on that, it kind of helped me because I was kind of soothing. It's kind of weird to say that, but it was soothing for me. And then eventually I was able to fall asleep. Sometimes it still took a while, but I did. My husband also did some research for me because he was trying his hardest to find something that would help me. And I really was determined I wasn't getting on prescription medication, but I had to do something. And I even was in tears one day and I told him, I says, I think I need to go to St. Mary's, the 7th floor. I'm crazy. There's something wrong with me. And somebody who's going through extreme anxiety and panic attacks, they do naturally go there. They start to think that there's something wrong with them, that they are crazy mentally or something. Then you're not crazy. You are not crazy. Do not let anybody tell you that you're crazy. My husband just wrapped his arms around me when I started crying and he says, you are not crazy. And I said, but yes, I am. Something is wrong with me. Um, but he let me know it wasn't. And so, anyway, um, it's just, so he did the research and he found something over the counter that he did research on that a lot of people said that they used over the counter that helps them with their panic attacks. So they used Dramamine. And what Dramamine is, if you do not know what it is, my husband has motion sickness, so we knew immediately what it was, and we were very surprised to find that that helps. Is actually a motion sickness drug. And so if you have problems with motion sickness, you take those when you go on plane rides, before you go to amusement park, if you want to enjoy the rides and not get sick. So anyway, so we had some because we had been to Dollywood. So so he comes one night and I'm having one, and he knew I was having one or afraid I was going to have one. I wouldn't I literally start crying at night because I was scared I was going to have a panic attack. So I was afraid to go to bed. So he's like, here, take this. I want you to try it because I did some research on it and it says it helps. It helped me. I started feeling better. It would calm me down. I was getting to where I didn't need the cats as much. And I was able to actually get some sleep. So that is one thing that worked for me. The second thing that really, really helped me was, and this is, I'm no way, anyway, it sounds like I'm promoting the book, but I'm really not. But I'm telling you, a girlfriend of mine told me, she says, you need to get this book. You need to try this book. And this is called Hope and Help for Your Nerves. I'm going to know it's going to turn it around backwards again. And her name is Dr. Carolee Weekly. Now, this book really helped me. First thing that helped me with it was the chapter 4. I'm going to read it to you. Is the symptoms of anxiety attacks. All tied up feeling, headaches, tired and weary, palpitations, dreadful, nervous, sharp pains under the heart. That's when people think they're having heart attacks. No interest in anything. Restless. My heart beats like lead. I have a heavy lump of dough in my stomach and heart shakes. And another thing she also mentions later is the throat closing up and another one of her things. That's a little bit more of an extreme one. Which was kind of like, oh my gosh, that's me. Anyways, but those are all symptoms of panic attacks and a nervous disorder. When she went through and she explains what causes nervous disorders, it's something that shoots from your brain down through your spine. And that the thing is, a lot of people fight, they do not relax. So what happens, you start having one, so you panic even worse, because what you do is you start fighting it. You're like, I got to get rid of this. And so instead of relaxing when it's happening, you tense up. And so that just makes the symptoms worse. What you have to do is you have to accept the symptoms. So one of the things that the book trained me to do was to completely sit in a chair and go completely limp. I know that sounds really crazy. And then the second part of it is you're supposed to concentrate on that symptom. So let's say my throat was closing up. So I would concentrate on breathing really deep and making it worse to where I couldn't breathe at all. When I realized that I could not make it worse and that it was starting to gradually get better, it calmed me down. Same with my heart. When my heart would race, I would do the same thing. I would sit there and I would try to make it race even harder and beat even harder. I couldn't get it to do it. Instead, it would have the opposite effect on me because I would soon realize I could not make it worse, and it calmed me down. So that was one thing that she suggested, an exercise that she suggested, and I was very impressed because it actually did help me out a lot. So that's what, and those are just things that worked for me. This book really helped me. Um, Before I'm done, I really want to tell you one more thing because there's a lot in chapter 24. It talks about do's and don'ts. You don't want to run away from fear. You need to accept all the strange sensations. You need to let there be no self-pity. So do not feel sorry for yourself. Settle your problems as quickly as you can. Waste no time on what might have been. Face sorrow and know that time will bring relief. Remember that strength is a muscle and may depend on the confidence of what it's used for. Accept your obsessions. Remember, your recovery does not necessarily depend entirely on you. Do not measure your progress day by day. Remember, withdrawal is your jailer. Remember, withdrawal is your jailer. Do not be discouraged. Never accept total defeat. Practice, don't test. Face, accept, float. Let time pass. Basically, that's what she has you do an exercise of just going limp. It's you are accepting the symptoms and you're just floating through it until it passes, and that really helps. And actually does. But for family members, things you do not want to do is tell somebody, a close family member or a friend, when you see them going through these symptoms, yes, you may be frustrated with them. Do not, whatever you do not tell them to get over themselves. Do not tell them to just get rid of it. Do not tell them that to get your mind off yourself. Any of those things just make it worse, because guess what? That person is already trying to do all of these things, but they can't do it. They are already working on those things that you're telling them to do. And so then what you're doing is you're just adding to it and putting more pressure on them, which makes it even harder for them sometimes to get over it. So what you need to do is be supportive and be like, don't be overly sympathetic with them, but just let them know, hey, I'm here. You're going to get better. You can do this, things that reassure them instead of things that kind of may seem like, putting pressure on them to do things they already know they need to do. You need to encourage them and let them know that, hey, I'm here with you. We're going to get through this together, because when it's a close friend or a family member, in reality, you're carrying their situation and their burden as well, because it's putting you under stress and pressure as well. And so if you work at it together, then you can get it better. Okay. So I just want you to know there is hope out there. Do not give up. Keep trying different techniques, trying different things. Do your own research. Find things that people said work for them and help them, and then try them. If it helps you, good. Then you're going to be able to recover and get better to where you have them less and less, and they don't happen as often. If they don't work, then try something else. I mean, that's what it's about. I personally ended up having to spend money and go to a heart doctor and cardiologist to prove to myself that I didn't have a health issue. And I was so relieved when he told me I had an extremely strong heart, that I had nothing to worry about. That it just was right then. It was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I was finally able to start the recovery process. And I barely ever have panic attacks now. I don't say I don't have them, but I've learned how to cope with them and to deal with them. So when I get that lump in my throat or I get all jittery inside, I know what to do. I know to accept it instead of, fighting it, and I make myself relax and just let it right out. And then eventually it does pass. So whatever you do, just please don't give up. Just do whatever you need to do to get better, or to get at least to where they subside and they don't happen as often for you. So you can really start feeling like you're enjoying life again, because you can do this. Everybody can do it. You just got to find and learn what works for you, and then do it, and then stick with it, because if it's helping you, then you want to keep doing what's helping you. Okay. I want to say one more thing. Tuesday morning, I'm doing something very special for my mother-in-law at 9 a.m. And anybody, I know I did this at the end, so probably nobody's going to see this. But if anybody wants to participate in it, my mother-in-law is very special to me. She's been very sick. Um, Her favorite psalm is what I'm going to play for her as a warm up on my workout because I'm dedicating the whole workout to her. And anybody who wants to support her and show her some love, I'll let her know that they're there for her, would be appreciated. The only person that they're going to see is me. But the thing is that what will happen is they will also know that you're there because I will make sure they know that you're there. We'll tell them how many people is actually tying in and watching with me and actually doing the dance with me. I can tell them that X amount of people are tied in. You can leave a comment under my live video on Facebook to let them know you were one of them. Um, Even if you can't actually do the dance because you're physically not able to, and you just want to watch it to be able to say, hey, I was here and I'm supporting you and I'm here for you, it would, I think, make my mother-in-law smile, and that's what it's going to all be about. So anyways, I hope, I don't know your time zone, so I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, night. Have a great one, everybody. And I hope this really helps somebody, at least to understand they're not alone.